Hello and welcome to episode 71 of the Choose Strong podcast. We are your hosts, Eddie and Sally McCrae. So stoked that you decided to join us. This is going to be another great episode, don't you think, Ed?
Of course it is. Every episode is top notch.
How can we gauge?
How can we gauge?
Yeah, how do we know
if it's a good episode or not?
It's going to be a great episode.
I think based on probably how many laughs we get.
Okay.
Is that a good gauge?
Yeah, so that hasn't started yet. So that's not a good gauge.
Not a good gauge.
That would be the post judgment, looking back, the reflection of
Okay.
the evaluation. I think it's going to be a great podcast just because our house is full this morning. We have both Isaiah and Mackenzie at home. We got Bear sitting here at my feet, and you and I have just gotten back from watching a little bit of the U.S. Open of surfing.
Yes, we did.
We got a coffee. See, this is this is like our favorite pastime, I think, Ed. I think this is something that you and I will be doing until we're 105 or however long that we live on this earth.
I pray to God it's not 105.
I whispered in your ear this morning, it's time to get coffee, so get out of bed. And we made our way down to HSS.
Yeah, got some good coffee.
Their Java Point Cafe. Got a cup of coffee, walked down the steps to the sand, and sat down right in the sand. And we just got to watch some surfers for about half an hour.
Yes.
It was a sunshiny day. It's a beautiful day here in Huntington Beach where I think we were sitting on the sand. It was like 68 degrees. We have no complaints today.
No complaints.
No complaints.
Zero.
And even though you can tell that I'm a little bit congested, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm very happy
Congested
about how
and
this
happy.
day has started off. After that, we decided to head over to one of our favorite places in Huntington Beach, the HB Corner Market, where our friend Suzanne runs the shop. She's the owner, manager, and both of her kids work there.
Yep.
So we got some big love for Suzanne, John, and Olivia. They make the best breakfast sandwiches in the city.
They make a mean breakfast burrito too. Although today I changed it up. I switched it up.
You did.
I went scramble bowl.
You did. I've noticed that in the last few days, you haven't been eating that much bread.
No, I'm trying to cut back a little bit and be
After our vacation.
Be less bloated.
Whenever we are just back from a vacation. Actually, we went to New York, Washington D.C. I decided to tack on Texas because why not go to 3 states in 10 days? This is also probably why I'm sick.
Yep.
But it was all good. It was all good things. So again, no complaints there. But I will say, when we go on vacation, we're off our schedule. I don't think any of us ever adjusted to the time zone. We were kind of going nonstop, and we get back, and Eddie's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna eat any bread for a little bit. I feel bloated. I feel a little inflamed."
Yeah, that always happens, right? When you go on vacation, you're out of your routine, and you're out to dinner, and you're like, yes, I will have dessert, or yes, I will have the extra piece of bread because I'm on vacation.
Right.
But then by the end, you're like, okay,
But then
I
one
feel
day
like
leads
I'm
to 2 days to 4 days in a row,
Yeah.
6 days in a row.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, I've seen you do this many times throughout our marriage where suddenly, much like your goals, you'd be like, you know what? I'm not eating bread for a week. I'm not eating any sugar or dairy for a full week. And then within that week, you look better, feel better, more energy. It's pretty amazing. We are not, by the way, disclaimer, we're not dietitians.
Definitely not.
Eddie is definitely not a nutritionist.
Nope. Never claimed to be, by the way. I think you're trying to label me that, but I'm not. No, it wasn't a week. I just said, you know what? I just need to do a 3-day kind of
cleanse.
Get back to square one.
Yeah.
And so
I
went.
Who was it that gave you some direction in that?
You did, but I took a
Yep.
little bit of the direction, and
you
I
took a
basically
little bit of the
here's what I
direction?
decided to do. I was feeling so bloated and just gross. I was like, you know what? 3 days is gonna kickstart something beautiful. And so the first day, I basically just said, I'm not having bread, I'm not having dairy, and I'm not having like any processed anything. So I had a lot of fruits and vegetables and green juice, And that was day 1. Day 2 did the same thing. And then last night you came back from Austin and you were hungry, and we decided to go to grab some Mexican food. And so I kind of derailed a little bit on my 3-day goal for the juice kind of thing that I was doing. So I had a California burrito. So I had steak and fries and chips. I kind of went backwards last night, but I'm back on track today, and I'm feeling pretty good. Although I do have a little bit of a headache. I've had a headache for a small headache for a few days. I don't know. I'm not a doctor either, but I don't know if that has something to do with what I've been eating.
I don't think that that anyone would ever think twice about that comment. We know you're not a doctor or a coach.
Not a doctor, not a coach, not a nutritionist. So let's just get that out there.
You know, I have heard of these 3 and 5 day diets where, and let me remind you, the word diet, it's meant to die. The first 3 letters of that word are DIE. That's not something that you stay on for your life. And sometimes just kind of getting yourself back on track. And what I like to think of it as maybe just refocusing. Because sometimes it isn't necessarily that we feel unhealthy and kind of like gross when we're, we're not eating things that make us feel good. It isn't, a lot of times it isn't even like because it's the amount or exactly what it is. We're just not paying attention.
Yeah.
We're not paying attention to when we're eating, what the substance is, if we're getting any protein or any nutrients. And so it's easy on vacation to be looking, going around, seeing the sights. I mean, we did a couple tours.
Yeah.
We traveled, by plane and train and Ubers and taxis. I mean, we were on the go constantly. And it was really easy for the hours to go by and be like, wait, did we eat lunch?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the last thing we ate? And and then just kind of be grabbing things as we went. And I think that really just comes down to you're just not really paying attention to what it is you're eating. So these 3 and 5 day diet cleanse type things, which I don't think are meant to be on for longevity. It just actually kind of recenters and makes you more mindful. And I will say there is, at the root of every good eating program is going to be whole foods.
Yep.
It's fresh foods. It's foods that were either grown in the ground or had a mother.
Yep.
And so eating fruits and vegetables, letting go of processed stuff. I know there's the whites diet where it's white sugar, white flour, and then dairy. Some people will do that. They'll take a break from that stuff for 3 or 4 days. And, I think a big part of it is the North American ingredients.
Yep.
The stuff that even right down into our soil, all the chemicals that are used to process our foods. I mean, I feel like sometimes taking a break from that, you notice a difference.
Yep.
So I know you've done this throughout our marriage.
I do it occasionally.
And every
not
time
enough.
you do feel great. Like you do it for a couple days. It kind of gets you back on track. You get that little reset.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
It's just another goal, Ed.
Just
Another goal to check off the list.
Another new goal.
Another new goal. And then I went and broke it because the kids were both out last night with their friends.
That's all right.
And we're like, we need to go to Quevita.
Yep.
And Quevita Tacos in Huntington Beach.
I
and
will
also
never
Costa
pass
Mesa
up
now.
some chips and queso
I
and
know.
salsa and burritos.
I know.
No, I can't.
And just
I
a night
can't.
out with your wife.
That's
it
right.
was just
That's it.
so lovely.
That's it. You're
So
right.
lovely. I want to say hello to everyone running right now. Well done for showing up for your run today. We are so excited that you decided to run with us in your ears. And to our youth listeners, what is up, kids? If you are still around, we are cheering at you on the YouTube, but also rooting for you if you're on your way to school or to practice. We love to hear it. And Eddie and I are always rooting for you in whatever it is that you do. Now, for those of you that are getting in the car, walked into the gym, slipped under the saddle on the bike, listen, I want to tell you something. Eddie and I are very proud of you, And we have been increasingly excited about the stories that we've been hearing about the good work that you're doing. And I will say that one of the reasons why Eddie is on this fruit and veggies and no processed food is because you've inspired him. He is he likes to put up sometimes on Strava. I'm just gonna say that he likes to put up some workouts in there, and you guys reminding us of the work that you're doing absolutely has motivated Mr. Edward James McCrae over here.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that time with us and what your goals are. And I know it just motivates the community for those of you guys that share what you're working toward, whether it's in the gym or in your careers or in your families. We love hearing about it in the Facebook page, on our now growing Strava community. Yeah, we love you guys.
I have two things that you just jogged my memory about. You
Yeah.
said saddle.
Yeah.
So you said getting back in the saddle or getting in the saddle, something like that.
You reminded of when you got in a horse in Mexico?
No,
Okay.
but that would, no. But I was reminded of a girl, I can't remember her name, but she wrote us an email. I apologize for forgetting the name right now, but she wrote us an email and said that she listens to our podcast while training horses out in Texas.
Oh,
and,
awesome.
you know, grooming them and stuff like that. So, hey, shout out to, I forget who you are, but thanks
Our
for listening.
Texas horse
Yes,
trainer.
yes.
That's awesome.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, you said Strava, and in the Strava world, well, it was actually posted in the Facebook group. It was a picture of like a big giant kudo, like thumb up, like on a doorstep, and it said the title was "Anonymous Kudos Slipped Under Door, Starting to Freak Local Runner Out." So there's a picture of this little, I think it's a joke, but there's this hand, this thumb that slipped under, and some of these comments were asking if it was me, if I was doing that. But I'm going to clear the air. It's not me, but someone in the comments called it a creepy kudo. I like that. Creepy kudos. So maybe that might be added to the arsenal.
Not gonna lie, there's some creepy kudos already on Strava.
I thought the same thing.
Definitely some creepy kudos.
Yeah. So
that is so funny.
Anyways, I thought that was really funny. But yeah, so that was my tangent. Sorry. Back to the original schedule.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited because, as you can see, those of you watching us on YouTube, I'm wearing the Stay Sturdy hat, which I designed in the spring of 2024. There is a story about Stay Sturdy and just the word sturdy that I really love. Got with the designer. We designed this amazing hat. We made 4 of them. Nick Bear wears it all the time. Eddie, well, you're not wearing it today. You're actually wearing a bear hat, a BPN hat. And then 2 other people got it. I think
Tyler got one.
I think Tyler got one.
And I don't remember where the other one went.
Dylan Bowman.
Oh, yes, that's right.
4 in existence. So then we decided, hey, let's release this sweet hat. And we just got the shipment in. Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited because we are first going to get this up in our store, but we're going to hold back a couple of them and give a few away. So the Stay Sturdy merch is now being designed. It's starting out with a hat. We have shirts and sweatshirts coming out. And this is actually a really big update about our store. We have been working really hard on many designs. So we have Do the Work designs. We have Choose Strong. We have Pass Gap and Berry. And now we have our Sturdy our Sturdy line as well. And we have shirts, hats, and sweatshirts in all of this. We are actually working on 3 other super cool hats. So I'm really excited about what is going to be rolling out. I think Eddie, you and I have been pretty thoughtful about choosing the kind of garments that we want for these things, choosing the designs, everything that we put out, whether it's content, our merch, there's some thoughtfulness behind the meaning of it. There's stories behind it. Some of this merch is going to include some little story cards from yours truly. And I'm just really excited to see where all of this is going. Now, I will say we only ordered a very small run of the hat. And last night we put in a second order. So if you do not get a Stay Sturdy hat the first time that it releases, and by the time you guys listen to this podcast, it will already be up in the shop. So if you miss that, there will be a pre-order link in there where you can get the second round. And I believe those would be coming out at the end of September. If you get a pre-order in for that. So very excited about the Stay Sturdy hats. I'm excited about just the Sturdy line of merch, and finally all of our other new designs that are going to be coming out. There's some good stuff in there and just some good messages that go along with it. In addition to all of that, to the Stay Sturdy hats we're giving away, we are also going to be including my personal mango gel from BPN's. Their Go gels. Now they have 3 gels. They have an apple one, a berry one, and then mango. The mango one, I will say, is a little bit thinner in consistency. I personally love to add it to water and shake it up in a bottle because I can put 2 in a bottle. So I can get like a 500 milliliter flask, add 2 gels in there. That's 200 calories, 50 grams of carbs. I mean, it's a pretty awesome bottle of fuel. And so that's one way that you can get that gel in. And those are great ways just to, when you're playing with taste and texture and consistency. Mango gel is really good. But I know it's a very popular flavor right now. I was just talking with some guys from BPN. It sells very well. So I'm excited to give away a Sturdy hat, some Mango Go gels. Eddie, can you tell us how people can win those?
Yeah, you can, kind of the same way we've done this in the past. You guys have gotten hats and other goodies in the past. We just do a simple review. Give us a review, a nice review, if you want on Apple.
Not a mean one?
No, give us a nice one. Don't be mean. Give us a review on Apple, and then you can email it to us or send it through our Instagram. And if you've already given a review, again, like we've done in the past, you can just screenshot it and send it back to us, and hopefully one of these times you'd be the winner.
Love it.
Yes.
I'm excited. So that will run for about 2 weeks. So Eddie will likely pick the winner by the end of our next episode. Yeah. So we'll probably announce our winners in episode 73, and this is episode 71. So thank you in advance also just for leaving a review for us. It really means a lot to us, and I know it really helps the show. So this is a fun way just to give back and say thank you.
Yeah. So that is the giveaway. How many hats are we getting given away? 1 or 2?
We decided on 2 hats and 2 Mango Go gel boxes.
2 lucky winners.
2 lucky winners.
All right,
yes.
2 lucky winners. All right. Well, speaking of reviews, I got one from YouTube, and Miss Teresa Zimmerman 7009. These names are awesome. Teresa says, I am hooked on your podcast, and I don't even like podcasts. Thank you for all your hard work to be all of our friends. Teresa, we are your friend, and we thank you for listening, even though you don't like podcasts. We feel privileged and honored that you would choose to listen to us for these hours and hours that we sit here and talk. Oh, man. So, Teresa, appreciate that one. All right. The second one is from Apple Podcasts. And we have Holson, Alaska. Holson, Alaska said, amazing podcast, great encouragement. I love this podcast. I listen to every episode. Sally and Eddie are always encouraging and bring a smile to my face. I'm currently in medical school, but love running and outdoor activities, and this podcast has helped me overcome challenges that come along with school and keeps me inspired to choose strong for my mind and body daily. Even if you're not a runner, this is a great podcast that is very relatable and fun to listen to.
I love that.
Holson, good luck in medical school.
I love that.
Man.
Thank you.
Busy. All right. So that was the 2 that I wanted to highlight. But now I'm going to move into some Choose Strong listeners. I want to highlight them and what they've been doing. So what we like to do on this podcast, if you are new to it, we like to highlight some of you out there that listen, that are part of our Strava group, or in the Instagram followers, or out on, just emailing us or whatever, just kind of telling us what you're doing. And we like to pull a couple of those and give you a little bit of love. And so the first one today is Alyssa. Alyssa wrote in on Instagram. She said, I just want to say thank you both for talking about the hard stuff. I've been training for 8 months for a half Ironman. For a half Ironman. I've trained for marathons and ultra marathons and thought the training Ironman, it would be so fun for training for 3 disciplines. This training block broke me down big time. I listened to you guys for all of my biking and running, and it's what got me through. I cried a lot during this training block and even the day before the race, feeling overwhelmed. Then the day of, as I'm in it, I thought about Sally running 200 miles over and over and over again last year and said, okay, suck it up. I crushed my goal coming in under 6 hours, and I can't wait to listen to you guys more during my next training block.
That's amazing.
So shout out to Alyssa.
Congratulations, Alyssa. Thank you so much for sharing that too. That's so awesome.
It's under 6 hours. Woof.
Well done.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right, so last one is Cade from the Strava group, the Choose Strong Strava group, and he had a birthday run. He says morning birthday run. So right now we just want to shout out Cade. Cade, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Cade ran 2.3 miles for 23 years on this earth, plus 23 push-ups.
That's awesome.
And Garmin said 2.3, by the way. But Cade, happy birthday. Sally wants to sing happy birthday to you right now.
Oh my gosh. I was like, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Cade.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love the activities that are attached to that.
Yeah, 2.3 for 23 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is pretty wild that some, people when they're 50 go and run 50 miles. I feel like when you turn 100, like you're going to go run 100 miles. I feel like you're that type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely, and
I
if
feel
not,
like you
if
could
I'm
pull
not
that
there,
off.
at least 100 minutes.
No, I feel like you could do 100 miles.
I love it.
I feel like
I
you
love
could do
the
that.
belief you have in me. You should write that one down.
Yeah.
This episode of Choose Strong is brought to you by Manukora Honey. And if you have been a listener for any stretch of time, you know how much Eddie and I love honey. So we are very excited about this one. It is getting colder. It is time to think about presents for the people you love, and the miracle of nature just fell in my lap at the perfect time. And that's a rare super honey that is 100% natural and has some unique properties. Manukora makes Manuka honey, a single origin honey that comes from New Zealand, where the bees only feed on the nectar of the Manuka tea tree, making honey that is pure, rich, and complex with a creamier texture that is on a completely different level from the normal honey you find at the supermarket. You can use it as you would any other honey, but what puts the super in Manuka honey is that it's super rich in antioxidants and prebiotics 3 times more compared to regular honey. On top of that, it contains an antibacterial compound called MGO that can be found exclusively in Manuka honey. The bottom line is that these nutrients really support your optimal immune and digestive health, and it's delicious. This is the perfect way to treat myself with something that is going to keep me strong through the colder months, and the perfect gift for the people I love to keep them sweet and healthy too. The 850 plus honey has this creamy caramel texture that melts in your mouth and is unlike anything I've ever tried. I can grab a spoonful out of a jar, which I've been known to do many a times. I can put it in my favorite beverage or squeeze some honey out on some toast or oatmeal. I personally like honey peanut butter sandwiches. So delicious. If you head to manukora.com/Sally, you can get $25 off their starter kit which comes with the MGO 850 Plus Manuka honey, a free travel pack honey stick, a free wooden spoon, and also a free guidebook. It's the perfect gift for a loved one during this season. Now, I love the jar and squeeze bottle, but the extra pack of compostable honey sticks is perfect for whenever you're on the go. You can bring them with you when you're traveling or if you need a quick snack running errands, and they're the perfect energy boost if you're out for a run or at the gym, especially in this time of year. That's MANUKORA.com/Sally to get $25 off your starter kit. This is just the ultimate honey. Indulge and try some honey with superpowers from Manukora.
All right, that's all I got. Big shout out to everybody else that are crushing their goals that I didn't mention, but we see you. We're watching.
Well, speaking of goals, I actually do want to highlight the people that listen to this podcast that are not runners, have no desire to run, and maybe are just into other things, which is totally cool.
Yeah.
We have people who love their yoga, biking, swimming. I know I had someone on my roster for a while who she liked to run, but like horseback riding was her thing. That was her main. I literally remember writing that into the program. It made me chuckle every single time because I thought this is the coolest thing ever. And there's a lot of things that we naturally gravitate to that, we're naturally good at, stuff that we've loved since we were young, and staying active is so important. But I think what's really cool is I was listening to someone say this the other day, just how vast and deep people are, that we have a lot of abilities and things that we are capable of doing that we haven't even discovered yet. But I don't think that we often give ourselves time or energy to think about those things or even to explore it. And so I came across this super cool article about this teacher in England.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Sarah Shaber, and I might be saying that incorrectly. It's Shabir, and she's an elementary school teacher. She teaches little kids, but during the COVID lockdowns, she took up crocheting. And I've heard that, like, a lot of people that like learned something in the lockdowns are like, gosh, I've been forced to kind of like sit down and not do what I'm usually focused on, or everyone's schedule changed, right? And it made a lot of people think about their life and then also just try new things because they had all this extra time. And so she took up crocheting, and she loved her class so much this year that she crocheted a personalized doll for each child that looked like them.
No way.
And there's this picture. I'll have to put it up. If you're watching our YouTube, I will flash this up for you right now so that you can see it. But it is the sweetest thing, because think back, listeners, to your favorite teacher in elementary school, if you can remember. I know I had a couple in elementary school. There was Mrs. Black, Mrs. Berry, and Mrs. Hughes. I loved those teachers so much. And that's elementary school was a long time ago for me, but I think teachers have a great impact. And she spent the whole year doing this, and she made 30 dolls, and
that's
each
so cool.
doll, it looks like one of the kids in the class, and she wrapped them up at the end of the year, and she first like showed the picture of all of them lined up, and the kids had to like guess who was who. And anyway, the reason why I brought this story is like, how cool that because this teacher was, forced to kind of take time off from school and, was in the lockdown, that she learned a new craft.
Yeah.
And in turn blessed all these kids. I bet those kids will keep that doll. Most of those kids will probably keep that doll for the rest of their life. A doll that looks just like them.
That's
like
pretty cool.
Personalized to them. It is just so precious. Anyway, what if we all did something like that? What if we took the chance, took the time, or just considered anything that we're interested in that we've always wanted to do?
Yeah.
And we went after it, and we tried it. And And maybe that thing ends up blessing other people. So that is your sign. If there is something that you have been considering that you want to do or that you want to go after, and you keep telling yourself, well, I just don't have time to do it. I'm too busy, or you just feel like I'm not going to be good at that, or I could never do that. I don't have that ability. I say go for it anyway. Give it a try. I mean, I had a friend that had always been interested in dancing and, started taking dance lessons. And it was just like fun. Socially, it was fun. It was just something she always wanted to do. She was an adult. We always think of people taking dance classes when they're young kids.
Yeah.
But I say go for it. So.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I just thought of my dad, how he just started taking, he's retired, so he's got some extra time, and he just picked up some drawing, or not picked up, but he loved to draw his whole life and kind of doodle and stuff, but he has taken some art lessons and drawing lessons through like the local.
And he's so good.
Community college.
He showed us his little sketchbook. It was so cute.
But it's kind of cool to put some effort towards something that you never really had time to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So that's your little encouragement for the day. Try something new. Stay curious. Go after it. And you know what's so cool, Ed, is there are so many online classes now. There's so many online classes. There's so many opportunities. I think back to when you and I were renovating our house up in Bend.
Yeah.
We would have never, ever thought to do. I guess we were kind of like in the same position. It was during COVID when we decided to do that.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of extra time, and we just went for it. But had the year not been like that, we would have, first of all, we would have never moved.
Right.
And second, if anyone had ever told us at that time, oh yeah, you guys are going to buy a house and go renovate the whole thing by yourself, we would have laughed. We're like, what? Like, we could barely hang pictures on the wall, let alone and go like renovate a house. So
yeah,
I don't know. I want to do more of that.
I want to try to crochet and like something that looks like you. Can you imagine how pathetic that would look? I was just thinking too, if I was back when I was teaching, if I tried to pull something off like that, the kids would have been like, that does not look like me.
What is that?
What is this?
I don't know, Ed. It might be one of your secret gifts. So,
this episode is brought to you by Janji. Janji makes running apparel for everyday exploration with designs, materials, and features meant to help runners go farther. Each Janji collection is informed by a different part of the world, where they collaborate with local artists on unique designs, and they partner with clean water nonprofits. This is their way of celebrating exploration and supporting the people and the places that inspire them. Also, 2% of all the sales are donated to clean water programs around the world, and as of now, they've donated almost $1 million to clean water solutions around the globe. And I've been wearing the 5-inch AFO Middle Short Ultra, extremely comfortable. And it has a recycled polyester. It's fast drying, smooth with a soft elastic waistband. And they have 6 pockets and a high vis reflective detailing. Janji is available at REI stores as well as janji.com. And if you use code CHOOSESTRONG, you will get 10% off of your order. That's JANJI.com, code CHOOSESTRONG.
Yeah, I think crocheting is, I've never crocheted, but
you haven't?
I have not. But I would assume that it's pretty hard, and let alone like trying to make it look like a person would just be next level. So
yeah,
that sounds amazing.
All right, Ed, why don't you just, then we got a little bit of encouragement there. I really hope that our listeners are actually thinking about, you know what, yes, this is my sign. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try basket weaving. Is that
a thing? Is that people who actually do that?
I don't know. That's like what we use all the time. But you know what I find so often is inside our gym, there are like mini businesses going on. There's like a Pilates business.
Oh yeah.
There is there's Perspire sauna, and every time I'm on the stair mill, I always look into that Pilates room because I love Pilates, but I can't remember the last time that I took one of the classes on the reformers machine. Mm-hmm. reformers class.
Is that the one that like moves back and forth?
Yes, on the big, they call it like the Cadillac or whatever. But listen, I've always wanted to take one with you.
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you know how hilarious that would be? I don't think we could get through the class without laughing. Like
Yeah.
you putting your feet into the straps, in the back of that thing, it moves up and down.
Yeah,
It's on tracks, it moves
Yeah,
up
yeah,
and down.
yeah.
There's all like these different things that you're doing. Legs are going all over the place. And sometimes
Yeah.
your legs and arms are moving in unison. Pilates is such a great core routine. And I don't think do you remember in the beginning of our marriage when I had really bad back pain?
Yep.
And I started doing mat Pilates, and it like took away my back pain, got my core super strong. And I've done it ever since. The very basic, I just have a little routine I do on the mat. But those classes, the reformer classes, I've only done a couple of them. But so for those of you that are listening, if there is something you've ever want to try, just do it.
Yeah.
Just substitute
for
the
it.
workout and go and do belly dancing.
Go for
or
it.
Go and do the trapeze. What are those, like the hanging? I don't even know. But there are so many different classes and so many different things that we can try. And I'm all about that. And we just got back from DC, New York.
Yes, we did.
One of our listeners gifted us.
Mhm.
We had no idea how difficult it was to get into the White House for a
Yes.
White House tour.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until we were there, we had just finished the tour,
Yeah.
and everyone was getting to know each other in the group.
Yep.
And we met a couple who was from like the Bay Area. They're from Sonoma.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it was your first time. And, they were talking about how excited they were to go on this tour. And they very casually dropped that 500,000 people apply for the White House tour every month.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That is insane.
Crazy.
And so a huge shout out to our friend who is in the Secret Service
Mm-hmm.
and hooked us up with this tour because it was wonderful. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Every room that we went in, green room, pink room, red room, orange room,
All the
lavender
rooms.
room, all the different colored rooms. I love old paintings. And to see some of those paintings like the Abe Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, George Washington, I mean,
Yeah, it was special.
it was special.
Yeah, I mean, being there was really just a great experience, right? Like just this, I can't believe I'm in the White House and there's so much history here. But then to hear from, that couple to say that how hard it is to actually get there, like it even made it more,
Yeah.
Special. So
Very
yeah,
meaningful.
we're grateful to.
And for the
be able to
kids
do that.
too, that was really special.
Yeah,
So,
no, that was
we
pretty
had
sweet.
we had a great time. But yeah, it was the first time that our kids had been to DC, and we showed them. We got off the metro in Falls Church, showed the kids the first house that we lived in.
Yep.
And then we caught an Uber and went to Reston. That was a city where we brought home Mackenzie. That was
Yep.
her first city that she lived in after she was born. And we had a really good breakfast at Tate. So if you are on the East Coast and you have heard of Tate, it basically looks like latte, but they switch out the L for the T.
Yeah.
It is such a great breakfast and lunch place. They have just a whole line of pastries and desserts. They have great coffee, a full menu. So good. So we went to the Reston Town Center. So for all of our Virginia friends, you guys know what we were talking about in Fairfax County. We went there. We had breakfast at Tate, and then we went back into Washington, D.C.
Tate is one of the reasons why I'm on a juice fast these
this
last
is
few
true.
days.
We went a couple times. It was very good. And what were some of the highlights for you of this trip? I mean, let's start off with Washington, D.C.
Well, D.C., I think obviously the White House was just so awesome. And then doesn't matter how many times I go to Arlington Cemetery, that's always a special place. To see the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and just to walk the grounds there is just always very humbling and a special time. So those are my two. I love all the monuments and going into the city and stuff, but those two are always. I mean, the White House I've never been, but those two are special.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. What else? How was the
What else?
how was
let's
the
see.
metro? I wanted to talk about this. the metro in Washington, D.C. versus the metro in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, people on the East Coast probably already obviously know this, but the DC is very, very mellow, I would say,
Yeah.
compared to the New York, subway,
High
metro.
ceilings.
Yeah, high ceilings.
Very high ceilings. Yeah. Good
yeah.
airflow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's enjoyable.
A little bit
in DC.
tidier.
Yeah, little cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good experience to ride the metros.
Oh,
in
I
those
loved it. I
cities.
loved
Yeah.
introducing the kids. I was glad that they got to ride the metro both in Washington, D.C. and then New York.
Yeah.
I think it's so important that, exposing our kids not only just, we think of like different parts of the world, but it's like our country's so big and people live their lives differently from state to state and depending on what side of state you live in.
Yep.
Right. So I thought that was really fun for them just to experience everything. I mean, it was cute too. I think social media can be positive and negative. I think in this area where there were a few things that the kids felt like, oh, we need to do this. We saw this on social media.
Yeah.
And then they would get to that spot and they're like, this is not
Pretty underwhelming.
what we expected. And it actually turned into a really good conversation. And one of the things I talked about was how so often social media can create this FOMO. And FOMO, I mean, there have been studies done on this, and that is the feeling of being left out, basically, feeling of missing out. That's where that comes from. And it's real. And the feelings associated with that are pretty powerful. So much so that people feel like I need to do whatever it takes to go experience that, to see that, to be a part of that, to be tagged with that. I need that. And in some ways it can be really dangerous. I think the positive side of that is like, hey, look at the world around you and what's out there. And I know a lot of people have discovered the trails because of social media. Living in a city. I mean, you talk to people that live in LA that have never been in the mountains before, never been on their local trails that are not that far from them, growing up their whole life. And then in some ways it's the YouTube films, it's the reels and the TikToks that, oh my gosh, there's a trail right there. I'm going to go try that. I'm going to go hike. That's positive. It's like, dude, it's getting you outside. It's getting you moving. You're experiencing something that's great. But we're seeing this a lot, especially with the youth, where they feel like I need to go to that exact yogurt shop or that exact coffee house, or I need that outfit because the feelings associated with it seem positive.
Yeah.
It's going to make my life better. It's going to make me feel better. It's going to, or the worst of all is I'm going to feel more valued, or I'm going to be more valuable. And so it was kind of a cool, very tangible lesson for our kids, because there was a coffee and juice place that they could not wait to go to.
Yep.
Because they've seen so many TikToks on this. And then we went and it was like empty. The service was mediocre, not too friendly. And the product was like, yeah, it was okay. And for a moment I could tell, the kids were a little shocked, but it made for like really good conversation. And the gist of that conversation was always be mindful of the reality of social media, and that the reality of life is most often different.
Yep.
And how we should do our best to lean into living real lives and creating experiences for ourselves, discovering things for ourselves, and not so much based off of something that was filtered. See, here's the thing, and this is really good for our youth listeners. I have been in the social media world a long time before social media was actually a way that we all functioned. I think I made my first workout video in 2007 maybe, or 2009 on YouTube. And I started using Facebook as ways to advertise my fitness business. And I really started to understand that, wow, this is like free marketing. It's been a long time since 2007 that I've used the online platform to promote my business, and then as time went on, even talk about running and showcase trail running and things like that, and coaching. I've seen so many different sides of social media, and just seeing how it has evolved. So one of the things that wasn't around when social media first really hit the scene was influencers. And genuinely people who can make a stellar living being an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, you can do it in a few ways. A common thing is you see influencers collaborating with brands. And they're either sent products and they talk about that product, or they go after these contract deals. And maybe they are using just a specific product for 6 months or a year, and that company pays them to always be posting about it, talking about it. There's all different types of deals that happen, but in a way which is not always understandable by kids is this understanding that being an influencer many times is being a part of a company's marketing budget. Marketing is one of the biggest budgets that many companies have. And, companies need to market their product. And so if you can find people to do that for you, you're either acting as a salesman or you're pretty much acting as someone who advertises. You're a good investment for that company, especially if you have 1 million followers, 2 million followers. With some of these experiences that these influencers are having, they're very unique to them. They are set up to showcase the absolute most epic experience possible. So let's say that it's a restaurant. I mean, that restaurant is going to make sure that everything about this experience for this influencer is great, right? So in this case of this juice and coffee place that we had gone to, I wouldn't doubt if the coffee house even shut down for a little bit or brought in certain people to make it look super fun and had the lights on and all the best, everything was clean and the products looked beautiful and there was music playing. And it's like, you're basically creating a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
You're creating a commercial for this influencer to post on their account that the viewer is then going to think, wow, that is amazing. I need that. That's what it's going to be like when I get there. And more often than not, we go to these places that have been shared and we realize, wait a minute, that isn't how it is. That isn't the experience that I had. And we see this again and again just across the board, that social media doesn't always give the full picture.
Right.
It doesn't always give the full story. And so the conversation I was having with the kid, with our kids, was make sure that you keep that in mind. Keep in mind that a lot of what you're consuming, it was created. Someone had to sit down, they had to edit that, they had to make sure the lighting was right, they're putting words across it, they went and maybe had a cameraman with them. That isn't true to like how we live life every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel for our youth coming up because they almost have to kind of battle for what is real and what isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so different. I was thinking that when we would go and visit something new, someplace new back in the day, it's like you only knew of it maybe if it was on a movie or maybe a commercial. That was kind of it. But now, like you said, the social media has done such a disservice, I think, to these spots where you go in with these huge expectations and anticipate something great. Mm-hmm. And if it's not great, and it's just like, that was kind of boring. That wasn't a great place to go. And, it's just a weird thing. Right.
Well, I was kind of having fun, like discovering the kids' perceptions and thoughts and expectations of New York City, because I've been many times. And I think just as a whole, Eddie, you can connect to this too. The more that you travel, the more that you also understand the drive of tourism, and that every big city has that spot that's geared toward tourists. I mean, there are some really big, cool areas to visit where barely any locals actually live there.
Right.
Where that that spot actually isn't a good representation of the country
Right.
or of the actual state or of that city. It's just those few streets.
Yep.
It's just those few streets that are like lined with, you know, souvenir shops and, you know, street vendors and all these experiences that, you know, and tours that you can buy and attractions just in that one area. And I've seen that over and over, whether I'm in a different country or traveling across our nation, that there's areas that appeal to people that are just visiting.
Yeah.
And so much so that when I really started to race more frequently internationally, if I had a good relationship with the RD or even like the racing staff, I would always see if there was a possibility that I could stay with a family and really experience what their life is like in that area. Because then we'd end up always going to the really cool restaurants that weren't the touristy restaurants, and we go to the cool places, and I would hear the cool stories about their culture and about their city. I really get a chance to learn about what it was like to live there and not get so caught up in what's the fun tourist attraction. And we live in a very touristy city ourselves.
Right.
I actually follow one of the accounts. Actually, two of the accounts, I think you do too, on Instagram, that it's for Huntington Beach and it's tourist stuff. And I'm always blown away at how good the videos are.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's my city? Like, where is that? Because I live here and I've never seen that. I've never experienced a restaurant in that way or a coffee house in that way. But the way that this video is being edited and the way the lighting is coming in, and the thing that cracks me up too is a lot of times when a coffee house or a restaurant or a new place that's opening is being showcased, there's always like just the right amount of people inside.
Oh, yeah.
And everything just looks so beautiful. And I'm like, it is never like that anywhere ever in Huntington.
So true. Like the line is never that short. Okay, come on. It's
But I was asking Isaiah and McKenzie. I was like, we were coming out of Times Square. They could not wait. They kept on saying, because at first they didn't really understand. They're like, because where we stayed, we were probably like 8 blocks away from Central Park. Like I didn't want to stay in a place that was so busy and loud, so we did stay in a quieter area. I loved where we stayed. And so I guess according to Isaiah and Mackenzie, they were shocked that was a part of New York City where we stayed.
Oh, I see.
Because they thought that all of New York City was like Times Square. And I just got a kick out of that. I'm like, can you imagine if you have been in Times Square? I mean, it is like overstimulation,
crazy
to the max. Big screens, lights, music. I mean, it was
a million people.
Like so many people. But I loved hearing that from them. That they're like, we thought it was like this everywhere you go.
They did like it though. I mean, they loved taking pictures of, you know, all the people. They loved taking pictures of themselves just at night, during the day. Like, it is quite a cool spot if you've never been before, right? Like, even,
it's amazing.
Yeah, just there's so much to see because there's so much going on and so many different languages, you know, spoken all around you. And it was a cool experience. What was your favorite part of New York?
I just wanted to add on to that there were a few times that I was like, we are going full-blown tourists. Like, I wanted to do that. I wanted to
get the full experience.
Show the kids, like, okay, what is it in your mind that you've wanted to see?
Yeah.
You know, so of course it was the Statue of Liberty. It was, Times Square. We went and saw Hamilton. Hamilton is my favorite part of our trip.
Yep.
Amazing performance.
It was amazing.
Amazing show. Best show I've ever seen. I cried. I didn't think I would. I wasn't expecting that at all, but it was such a great show. We had great seats. It was
amazing.
And it was the sweetest little gift. Isaiah and Mackenzie, I don't know how this happened. The 2 seats directly in front of them were empty.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a packed house. And so they just had this perfect view of the stage and, spectacular show. So that was really fun. seeing that, then we walked into Times Square, and then you found this really cool sugar something restaurant we ate late night after the show. Yeah, that was a really fun night.
Yeah, Hamilton was. I mean, I'm not a huge like theater. Like I respect it, and
Yeah.
you know, but I'm not like
Isaiah
we
and I
need to
are.
go like all the time, or you know, it's not like. But man, going to that and watching it, like it was, it's so impressive, right? So impressive. I love like the historical piece where you kind of learn a little bit. These guys are singing the whole time, dancing. Like, yeah, it was very, very impressive. I enjoyed it big time.
I was amazed, Eddie, that for 2.5 hours, I don't think I saw a single misstep.
No, they nailed it.
There was no stuttering.
No.
There was no, wait, let me say that line again.
Right.
There was, I mean, every note was hit when
Yep.
they were singing. It
Yeah.
was,
So impressive.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the singing, the way it was, the story was presented, and I don't know, just the combo of that, the dancing, the rhythm of all the songs, and man, it was just an A+.
A+. That's definitely a show I could go see again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I was humming the song yesterday, like, because it was still
Right?
in my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
it
I've been
was,
doing that too. The music is
Yeah, the
so
music's
fantastic. Isaiah was listening to the music before we had even left for our trip, and then you know, when we were in DC, he was listening to it. Then
Yeah.
then when we took the train up to New York, that was really fun too. Taking the train from
Oh, yeah.
Washington DC up to New York City. Yeah, just giving the kids the full experience of a different type of transportation that
Yeah.
they're definitely not used to. But yeah, Isaiah was playing that often. He wanted to make sure that he knew the words, and he was singing along.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, when they were performing, it was really cool. I think the thing that was the highlight for him. He was looking forward to the
Oh,
most.
for sure.
This episode is brought to you by Lumi. It's officially vacation season, my friends. In fact, I'm really excited to head out to Flagstaff with my daughter. But do you want to know who's not invited along? Body odor. And that's because no matter where I go, I always bring Lumi whole body deodorant with me. It keeps me smelling fresh from head to toe. And did you know that it is clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours? I could basically fly all the way to Singapore and still smell fresh for landing. Now, I'll tell you what, I have been using the body wash and the deodorant. I love this stuff, especially because I'm outside all day and I have been traveling nonstop since Western States 100. So this is a must for me. And the cool thing is too, they have it in travel size for a travel bag. Check out Lumi. We are doing a special starter pack. It's perfect for new customers. We got a special discount too. But this starter pack, it comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our Choose Strong listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off the starter pack. So use code SALLY, SALLY, for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code SALLY at LumiDeodorant.com.
Yeah, I'm bummed that switching gears a little bit, I was kind of looking forward to running in Central Park.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this, but was it the night we got into New York?
It was the night that we got into New York City. And the plan was...
What's the plan?
Because it was a travel day.
Yeah.
All of us needed to get a workout in. And I
Yes.
said, well, there's a good gym where we are staying.
Yeah.
And so we are just going to drop our bags off in our rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are going to head down. We're going to train. And then we're going to go out and have a nice dinner in New York City. And
Yeah.
so Mackenzie had a workout. I'm doing tiny bit of coaching her through some workouts right now. Nothing big. She's just doing foundational work.
Yeah.
But so I gave her this little mini workout to do on the treadmill. And I don't know why, Eddie, you forget how fast your daughter is. That her recovery pace.
I don't know. I think you forget how fast I am.
You are fast.
That's what we're talking about right now.
You are fast.
Okay,
but
hold on.
when was the last time you ran at 5-minute pace?
Let me break it down.
Can we just...
Let me break this down. So we go to the gym as a family. Isaiah's lifting weights. Sally's doing elliptical. And Mackenzie and I get side by side on a treadmill. So I'll run my 3 miles next to Mackenzie. And so as I ran a mile or so, I look it over and Mackenzie's starting her workout. And so she's ramping up the speed. And so I look over at her. You look over,
you're right next to her.
And mind you, Mackenzie and I are facing the mirror.
And I'm right
Sally
behind
is
them.
right behind us. So she sees this whole thing going on. But
I already predicted this.
No, you didn't.
I promise
Seriously?
I did. I promise I predicted this because I know my husband. And I did not say anything as I watched it happening, and I'm just literally rolling my eyes.
As the story goes, I look over and Mackenzie's pushing the up arrow button, on the speed.
Yes, I gave her a fartlek workout.
And
it
so
was 10 by 1 minute.
She was up to 10.1 on the treadmill, and so I'm looking at her at the side of my eye as I'm running, and I start pushing up.
A chill pace for her.
So I start pushing up the buttons, and I'm at 9, and she's looking at me like, and I keep going, and I'm over at 10, and then I go 10.1, and that was 5:54 pace, by the way. And I started just going step by step with her, saying, "What's up? I got this. I got this."
And she's laughing
and
so
she
hard.
was like, "Wow, okay, that's pretty
she's
good."
Running so easily.
Yeah, it was easy for her. But I did that for, 30 seconds, and I started to slow down, and I was kind of at the end of my 3 miles, so I got off, and as soon as I got off, I literally felt the back of my calf, like, tighten. Obviously, I've had this injury before. It's a soleus kind of minor tear.
Right.
And so I was... Not good for the rest of that night. I was like, what did I just do? I'm an idiot. And the next day you're walking around New York and you're putting in steps, galore, right? Thousands of steps. And my leg literally hurt all day, every step that following day. So that next day I couldn't run in Central Park. So I rode the bike next to Mackenzie, but I'm thinking, okay, maybe Sunday. And the next day was Sunday, and nope, still.
How'd that go?
Let me just say, I have not run since that night. And that's been over a week.
Friends, I have to say that.
Oh, man.
As I was on the cross trainer behind you and Mackenzie. It was a small gym, so I was probably only 3 feet behind the treadmills.
So embarrassing.
And it was a whole wall of mirrors. And already I knew, because as soon as Mackenzie was getting into a run, because she'd done all like her
warm up, yeah.
She did like a 15-minute warm up.
Yeah.
And she did all of her activation exercise. She's very methodical. She has she gets her resistance band out. She does all the things right in order to run fast.
Right.
Eddie, on the other hand, while she's doing her warm up, he just hops onto the treadmill. And when Mackenzie gets next to him, she had to do 15 minutes of easy running. So she's just running like 8-minute pace, 8 miles, 8.0 on the treadmill. That's her warm-up pace. And I see Eddie like looking over at Mackenzie, and he keeps smiling. And you and Mackenzie you guys are so cute. You're so funny together with the way you tease each other. But you have a very strong bantering. And I think why it's so funny is because you constantly put yourself into a place of, hey, I'm your greatest competition.
Mm-hmm.
And she just gets a kick out of that because, one, she knows that you're her daddy, that you love her, that you're not being serious about that.
Yeah.
But the fact that you feed that to her, like, and she's insanely competitive. She's so much like you in this way. So you guys hit heads on that too. And she will hold you to it. Like, okay, we're playing, but also I will crush you, but you're the same way. And you're like, but I'm going to crush you. And so when she did 10.1 and you're like, well, I'm going 10.2, I'm sitting there watching the back and forth in the mirror.
I didn't go 10.2. I was not that brave. I went 10.1. I just wanted to match her.
Okay, so it's 10.1. But I'm watching the back and forth and I'm like, this is before you're going up to 10.1. And I already knew this was going to happen. I already knew as soon as Mackenzie got done running her 15 minutes, then she needed to lock it in. And I kind of coached her too. I was telling her.
Yeah.
As soon as I knew that she was going to lock it in, I was like rolling my eyes already. I'm like, okay. And I see you kind of raise your chin a little bit and you're like looking over with like this half smile. And then she's smiling back at you. I was like, it's over. It's over. So then when you got off and basically fell on the ground, I was like... And yeah, we're back to LA Marathon training because this is what he did weeks before when I told him, chill on this fartlek. And I told you I didn't want you going faster than like 7:30 pace. And you're like, who do you think I am? I am so much faster than that. That's not a fartlek pace for me. And so you had to do 5-minute pace and wrecked your soleus.
Hey, all I got to say is Mackenzie was impressed. She was impressed.
And that's what matters most.
That's all that matters.
Impress your 18-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty pathetic.
You win
Pretty
that
pathetic.
approval.
Yeah.
It wasn't pathetic. You know, it's really sweet. I love what you guys have, and it's so cute to watch that between the two of you.
But all that to say is that I was bummed because I honestly was looking forward to like running a little bit in Central Park, and I did not get to do that.
But you know what? Instead, you rode the bike alongside Mackenzie.
I rode the bike.
Ran
You're
in
right.
Central Park.
She did.
And that was really cool.
Yeah, Central Park's awesome. That was actually the first time I've ever I know we went there when we were young. We just had Mackenzie, so 18 years ago. That was the last time I've been. And I felt like I didn't really get to experience it because we had her and we were kind of just focused on making sure she was fine because we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
But this time we actually kind of went 4 or so miles in and out through the park, and the park is gigantic.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how many different trails and things they had in that park, which is, pretty cool.
There were some things we wanted to do, but it was very funny to think this, but we went to DC and New York City during their historically hot week.
Yeah, it was very hot.
So both places had thunderstorms. So, there's a few times we had planned to do stuff in Central Park and it was 95 and then raining.
Yeah.
And so we opted for like the Natural History Museum.
Mm-hmm.
We did the World Trade Center. I think that was the longest tour that we had. I don't think we realized we were in there for almost 5 hours.
Yeah, and we probably could have spent more time.
Could have spent more time in there. That was actually very difficult because you and I, we remember that day so well.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first year of teaching.
Yep.
And I remember that morning like it was yesterday.
Yep, same.
But they did a very good job with that. If you have a chance, listeners, if you have not been to New York City, if you have not checked out the World Trade Center Museum, it is definitely worth. What we did not do the guided tour. We decided to do the audio tour, which gave the kids freedom too. It gave everyone freedom that if you didn't want to stay in each spot, you could kind of move through each thing, but they guide you through the entire museum. It's really powerful. But I cried a few times. Just some of those images were really hard to see and just to remember. And but that was really powerful. I think we spent 4 or 5 hours in there. We went to Rockefeller Center, and I feel like we just did all the things.
Did all the touristy things.
Our last night there, Mackenzie chose we said it would be really fun to do like a rooftop style restaurant. So Mackenzie looked one up and chose one, and that was actually a really fun dinner. We laughed so much.
Yeah,
and I think
fun.
we kept on looking around, realizing like our family does not belong here. Because we were not dressed like everyone else. I think we didn't have the nicest attire on, and we were a little lively that night or last night in New York. But it was a nice dinner overlooking the city, and just all around great memories. I mean, we made some great memories with the kids, and they got to have some new experiences on the other side of the nation. I know they have both been to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Isaiah joined me actually twice when I did my trail running camps out there, and he would do the Camp Greer
Yep.
youth camp. And so the kids have been to the East Coast before, but they've never been that way north. And
Yeah.
that was so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was a good trip. I think it was not one of those vacations that you go and you kick your feet up and relax. It
Not
was
at all.
very draining at the end of each day
It was.
because of how many steps we were putting in and how hot it was. But it was going into that, we knew it was going to be like full days of like, hey, we're trying to pack in a lot, check everything out, and but yeah, it was a blast. It was fun.
Yeah. Ed, did you take a chance to try a street hot dog or anything on the street, any street
You know
food?
what? I opted not to because I didn't want to chance anything about being on the toilet for the rest of the tour.
Hey, we did have some street food, though.
Isaiah had a street corn dog.
That's
and
all
he
he talked about
survived.
was
Yeah.
I have to have a hot dog.
He had
so we
one
got
of
the corn
those.
dog.
Yeah.
And then we had some really good like chicken and lamb skewers.
Yeah.
We did that.
That was a little safer.
We attempted
option.
a street smoothie, which was mostly water and ice.
Yeah. I did not have
with a
that, but
little
the
bit
kids
of
said
fruit.
as soon as they started drinking it, they said, this is not good.
This is not what we
A
thought
very
it was going to
expensive
be.
water drink.
Yeah.
That's basically what that was.
We had a lot of coffee.
Yep.
Tried a lot of different coffee houses. Filter coffee, I think, was one of our favorite. It was just a fun experience. You walk in and there's a little machine there that you press a button, put your face up to this lens, and it produces a picture on a piece of paper, and you can either keep it or hang it up on the wall. And so we hung it up on the wall there in New York City.
It was called Frame, right?
Oh,
yeah.
not Filter. Yeah, Frame coffee.
Yeah.
And so that was, I think, my favorite. I can't say what was our favorite place where we had dinner. We had we went to a couple really good restaurants.
we
There are
did.
so many great places
There
to
are.
eat.
There's so many.
But what was the name of that place? It was on the Hudson River. It was like this beautiful outdoor garden. Obviously, it's probably only been there in the last, 5-10 years, because I don't remember.
When we climbed up
We
it,
climbed
or
up the stairs. I mean,
it was
it
called
was like
the Edge or something. Was that right? Does that sound? I don't know. I gotta
maybe
look that up.
it was the Edge. Listeners who live in New York City, you know what we are talking about. But
Had a cool view at the
had
top.
a beautiful
Yeah, it
view.
was
There were so
cool.
many trees and plants and a botanical garden. I mean, there was so much. And then there was this outdoor amphitheater, obviously, where they do concerts and things like that and big events.
Yeah, it was a cool
But
spot.
it was really cool what they created. You kind of felt like you were in nature. You're
Yeah.
in this big cement city,
Yeah.
and then there's
Remember we mentioned there's a ton of runners right there
Oh
along the water.
my gosh.
It was a cool place to
Everywhere
run.
we went, I felt like, well, this is just well known too, especially because New York City Marathon is so iconic there.
Yeah.
The running community in New York City is massive.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, you at any given time during the day, especially if you are along the Hudson River or out by Central Park, you're going to see a lot of runners. And
Yeah.
that was really fun. That was exciting. But we felt like that when we were in D.C. too.
Yeah, you're right.
Anytime you go down by the national monuments,
That square there,
runners.
the White House, the mall, like that whole. I don't know how long it is, but that little square mile, that block, right?
Yeah.
That you ran it. You ran it like
I
don't
ran
know how
it.
long, but there was a
I
ton
ran
of
it a few
runners.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of people that it was pretty popular. Yeah, so the trip was great. The kids had a blast. We had a blast. It's good to be back. So
And now
and now
we are a couple days away.
For sending Mackenzie off to college, which
We
is
are.
a sad week, sad day coming up for all of us here at the
Yeah.
McCrae household, and trying to savor these last few moments with her, and until you head out with her, and we catch up with you guys in a few days after that.
Yeah, well, we are in August. It's
We are.
August 8th as we record this.
Yep.
We actually took a break from recording when we were in New York City, D.C. We had the good intention of recording a podcast
We really
while we were
did.
there. Eddie brought all the equipment.
Yes.
I don't think we really calculated. I don't think we calculated right.
We did not. We didn't realize we'll be so tired at the end of every day. We didn't realize we didn't have even 10 minutes of free time.
Well, we didn't take into good consideration too of just how much the kids also wanted to do.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
they didn't want the downtime.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think originally I had planned it that during the afternoon we'd have downtime, everyone could get their workouts in, the kids could kind of relax, and then we'd gear up again for the evening.
Yeah.
But they were very interested in staying out.
Yep.
And we thought, I don't know when they're going to come and do this again, or when we're going to do this as a family again. So let's just push through and be tired and see all the things and do all the things and have all the experiences, right? So I'm glad that we did that, but we did take a break from the podcast because of it. So now we are back, and I was just thinking about how many times August can be a really rough month for people because, one, they have gotten off their usual schedule. We are now 8 months past, New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Listeners, can you remember New Year's Day? Can you remember the beginning of this year when you were so excited about all the things that you wanted to do this year, all the goals that you had planned for yourself? And I really do hope that you are either still working on those, or you have accomplished them, or you're still making new goals for yourself as we move on. We still have a solid 4 months left in this year. It's weird to say that, though, that there's 4 months.
I can't believe it's already August.
Because that's like 16 weeks,
Yeah.
18 weeks left in this, in 2024. But historically, I was talking earlier about how I started my fitness business in 2007. And I always noticed that every single year of my fitness business, I did an outdoor boot camp. I coached runners. I had different arms of my fitness business, but typically July and August were the hardest months. They were the hardest months for my clients to stay on track, to be consistent. And a lot of it had to do because most of my clients had families. And so their kids were out of school. They were going on vacation. I mean, you just kind of get off of that schedule. And when we get off of our schedule, a lot of other things get off too. So whether it's our eating or it's our sleeping, stress management, all those things, they kind of feel like they're turned upside down. We also sometimes hit August and feel a little tired. We feel a little weary from the year, and we are pushing through to get to fall and winter. And many of us need a restart. Many of us need to be reminded and motivated to keep going at this time of year. So I thought I would just take a minute to do that, because I know for me, when the kids were little, that many times by the time we hit August, I would actually look forward to the kids going back to school. Not so much because of their absence in the house during school hours. We've always had really fun summers, but really just the structure. Mm-hmm. I was craving the structure in the schedule, because I feel like when I have a schedule, when I have that structure, that I work a little better, that I can focus a little bit more on those goals I'm working toward. And kind of like our DC Washington trip, it did feel like we were all over the place, and plans were always changing, and new things would pop up, and what we had originally planned to do, it wasn't happening, and it was like day after day of that. And I remember saying to you our last night in New York City, I'm actually excited to get back home, although I had forgotten that as soon as I got home, it was time for me to go straight to Texas. So I am actually just home for the first full day today. I'm very happy to be home. But I think many of our listeners can understand this. If you are listening to this episode in the summer, it's August 2024, that there is usually a point in the year where we feel weary, where we are kind of questioning those goals that we had made for ourselves, where we feel like we need a recharge, where we feel like, man, it's felt like a long year, or this year has just really worn me down, or the goals I set out for myself are not coming to fruition in the way that I hope they would. And so I want to take a minute to encourage you and just say, keep going. I love the phrase, I say it often, don't quit in the middle. And this is definitely the middle of the year. And I might be saying, oh, no, that's like June, but I actually feel like when we get to the end of summer is when we are really feeling like this is like the hardest part. It is hard to stay consistent. It is hard to stay focused, to find those energy stores when you feel like you don't have any. And so take care of yourself and give yourself a minute at some point this week. Give yourself 5-10 minutes. Get up, 5-10 minutes a little bit earlier. Sit with that cup of tea, that fresh cup of water, that cup of coffee. Open up a journal, have a notepad, something, and write down your goals. This is so powerful. The other thing you can do, write down the things that you've accomplished this year, the things that you're grateful for, the things that you overcame, the things that are going right. Eddie, I don't think we do that enough for ourselves. I know between the two of us, sometimes it's really easy for us to talk about all the things we still need to do, or the things that we came up short on, or how stressed out we are. But I know there have also been times where you and I play off of each other and we're like, hey, let's celebrate this. Actually, you are good at that, where you'll pause and be like, Sally, you need to celebrate this. Like, we need to, like, let's enjoy this. And I want to encourage you listeners to do that. You need to celebrate your accomplishments. You need to celebrate the work that you're putting in. You need to celebrate what you have, the people in your life, the job, the roof over your head. Those are the really basic things. But having the ability to work toward a goal and knowing that it's not a smooth ride for any of us, right? It's not smooth sailing. No year is perfect. No one has an all-around great year. That's just a lie. We're humans. We are imperfect, and we live in an imperfect world. So there's going to be a lot of challenges and roadblocks as you move through every single year. And, that's one of the reasons why this podcast exists, because we like to encourage you to keep going. We like to remind you that, Eddie and I and this entire community, we all have our setbacks and challenges too, and we don't string together consecutive, amazing, great days. It is a choice every day to get up and just keep going, no matter the circumstance. And so here we are in August, and this is a good time to look back, think back about those goals you made for yourself in January. And I always like to give a little caveat here, because not everyone likes New Year's resolutions and goals and things like that. Regardless, what are you working toward? How's it going? And what are your plans to keep moving through 2024?
I like it, Sal. I need to hear that, so I appreciate that.
I need to hear that. Yeah, I think it's really easy to let the busyness of life catch up with us. The other thing that I'm realizing too is it's so easy to let my phone distract me, and I'm starting to do this thing where we'll go out as a family. And, I make everyone leave their phones in the car, or I make everyone leave their phones at home. And, or even just this idea, like sometimes I'll just leave my phone upstairs and I'll come downstairs for a couple hours. That's been really helpful.
Yeah.
And I think all of us could afford a break, because especially for people our age, we didn't grow up with that, but we have kids that's how they've grown up. They've grown up with the device by their side all the time. They don't actually know how to operate without it. And so I say that's one of the best things we can do is just be aware of how much time that phone spends in our hand or in our pocket or in front of our face. And remember that focused attention without a screen, you can get a lot done. And you're able to think about things that are real, authentic thoughts, that are valuable thoughts, that are organic thoughts that can really impact your life. And one of those is making plans for yourself. You don't need to scroll through social media to make a plan for yourself or to gauge what other people are doing, but really sit down with yourself and think about what it is that you want to accomplish. What do you want to do with your one beautiful, unique life?
Yeah.
So that's a good word for today, Ed.
That is a very good word, too. I like that one.
And we're going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. We need to go spend some time with our daughter, make sure she's packing up as scheduled, and just spend a little bit of time with her, because
sounds good to me.
We got a couple days.
Sounds good
Listeners,
to me.
we want to say thank you for taking us along with you today. We love you. We're rooting for you, and we want to remind you to keep choosing strong in all you do.